it's Krista with Krista's Creative Chaos. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would. That way you'll get notifications when I go live. You can click, after you subscribe, you can always go into YouTube, and then for each channel that you're subscribed to, you can go into settings, and it automatically defaults to only sending you highlight notifications in case you have any channels that you're like, why am I not knowing when they go live? So so to change that, you can change it to all. Otherwise, they kind of decide which things they alert you about. So I was sitting here stamping some stamps. I've stamped, you guys, for, gosh, since I was in my 20s, so that's over 30 years. Wow, that makes me sound really old. But I have. And I used to teach stamping classes and things like that. So I wanted to show you, I was stamping some pieces for some artist trading cards for a Wizard of Oz, hot flash, for a Wizard of Oz swap that I am hostessing. If you're interested in getting in on any of my artist trading card swaps, comment below and I will let you know how I do that. I probably should maybe try one here from YouTube and let people send them. I saw somebody do that in on another channel I follow. I thought, oh wow, she has a huge channel. So, but anyway, random thought. Glinda. So I was stamping Glindas, and I only need 5 Glindas, and then I only needed 5 witches, but that leaves it a lot of extra paper. So I was going to show you what I was doing, because I'm like, why am I not videotaping this? Because this is something that comes simple to me, but to other people, it might not be an automatic do it this way. So, so normally, if you have something like a swap or something, and then you're going to cut out what you need, right? And you're going to have this scrap, and you're probably going to throw it away. You guys, supplies are expensive. So when I stamped Glinda, make sure you have some of your smaller stamps within arm's reach. And then I just saw, what could I stamp into these spaces? And so I stamped in some paintbrushes. I love the stockings because I might end up using that on a card. Who knows? On this one, I needed the witches, and then I stamped more of the paintbrushes. Not sure what I'll use them for, but I'm going to start a box. Well, I actually have one already. It's just not handy right now, of all these extra images. And so maybe if you're watching a movie or you're doing something, or you're waiting in a doctor's office or something like that, and you have a little pouch in your bag with these little extra pieces of paper and a pair of fussy cutting scissors, you can cut these out while you're waiting for a doctor's appointment. You could cut these out while you're waiting for the bus. You could cut these out while you're waiting at your kid's soccer practice. So I love to have a little fussy cut pack in my purse or in my bag, so that I could just do it wherever I have the opportunity. And then I store these little pieces just in like a little back to school box, or in like one of these types of boxes. I don't do them by theme typically. If you end up with a lot of these pieces, you could do them by theme, but I just stick them in there, and it's kind of fun to rummage through them sometimes when you're just looking for something for a piece of collage work that you're like, it needs something right there. Well, but you don't feel like thinking that hard, right? So you just look through there, and maybe there'll be something that'll be just perfect. So, and then that way you're also using all your cardstock up, instead of next time I need a paintbrush, using one piece of cardstock to stamp a little paintbrush, right? So I wanted to show you, though, a quick inking tip. So this is an inking tip for you. So I use the StazOn pads when I know I'm going to be coloring over the top of them, because if I don't use StazOn, if I use a different type of ink, like a dye ink, a lot of them will separate, and then the browns and the blues will come out of the ink, and you can see that, and I don't want that for these images. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to stamp. I'm going to flip the camera down. Okay, so when you're stamping, these pads tend to be a little more on the dry side. So most people stamp like this, which is fine, except you can't see if your ink was applied, if it was applied in a good way, like if it was applied evenly. And so, and now what I did there, how I ended up not covering any of the stamp, that just comes with practice, okay, over time. So, but a better way, especially if you have a large stamp, so like when I was doing my Glinda, or I was using this one, which has a lot of solid places, and they really need to be inked up solid, going like this, then you're checking, and you're checking, right? So you don't want to do it that way. Much easier to take your stamp pad and hold it tight like this, and then ink it from here, Because see, then I can see, now that's solid up there finally. And then I get the shoes and they're nice and solid. Now I need a different scrap to stamp that on. And can you guys see what I'm stamping on top of? This is a mouse pad. This came as in a thing from a salesperson. But I put this underneath because so stamps have a cushion underneath them, underneath the rubber. But it's not always enough to get a nice clean stamp. So then when you stamp with one of these underneath, it will help, okay? And so then I've got my image. And I didn't have to say, oh, it wasn't inked up properly. And then always, because I was able to tell that it was inked up properly. And then always clean your stamps. Don't let the ink dry on your stamps. If it does dry on there, it could end up coming off later when you stamp. And like if maybe I want this to be purple next time, or maybe I want it to be green, and that black could end up coming off on your other stamp pads. So yeah, so this is just a quick little stamping tip, is to do it upside down, and then you can see that you got it a nice even application, because then I can do it this way. And do you see how the brush in here, how it's like it's not as clean as the first one? That's because of the inking. So I could have caught that if I had been this way. It's not efficient to keep turning it over. So just a quick little tip about stamping. If you stamp, if you don't stamp, hey, you don't have to take that tip. You guys, I've got so many projects in the works. So I'm starting my Wizard of Oz cards. I'm currently working on some Alice in Wonderland cards. I'm making, again, shout out to Alexis Mills. She sent me a card as a little thank you in a swap. It wasn't the actual swap card, but it was really cool. She had taken, hang on, let me grab it. I don't have hers handy, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So I stamped these backgrounds with these, all right, stenciled, painted the background of a card, and then stenciled it with this diamond shape. And then I cut them in half. Make sure when you cut them in half that you are cutting so that it goes on the right side of the card. Otherwise, it could end up being this way. I didn't want to cover up the hearts on here because Queen of Hearts, you know, and she's got all of her little heart, her little card minions. And so I wanted the hearts to be part of this card. But what this is this is a pocket. So Alexis sent me a card like this that gave me this idea. So I was like, oh, I'm going to incorporate that idea. And so I just glued here and here. I used two-sided tape. The thinner the tape, the better, because otherwise you're going to eat up the space of your pocket. Like if I had really thick tape, you know, I wouldn't have a big pocket here. And then I'm putting an interactive piece in here that they'll pull out, that will, when they pull it out, it will interact with this piece here. It will make sense. Like this one is going to have a Humpty Dumpty piece that pulls out, because if you see her hand is reaching up and Humpty is reaching down off the wall. So that piece, when I pull it up, his hand should touch her hand, and so it will finish the scene. So I'm making a bunch of different ones of these, but that's what I've been working on. I've always got a million projects in process. If you haven't seen them, check out my video shorts. I've been showing sneak peeks of all the Halloween and autumn projects I've been working on. I probably should do one showing all of the non-Halloween and autumn projects, because I've got a ton of those going too. What would you like to see future videos on? I'm going to make a video the next, maybe I'll make one. So I don't know. Is it interesting to you to watch me creating, just putting things together? Like I have all the elements already ready to go. But I feel like I'm sitting there and I'm like in my head going, okay, I don't know which looks good. And when we fuss with it, sometimes I like watching people do that because I like to see their process. And other times I don't. So I don't know. Maybe I'll make a couple of those videos and see how you guys respond to them. Comments really help on the videos. Liking the videos, super, super helpful, because then I know to make more videos like that. Okay. So that was just a quick little stamping tip for today. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. Talk nice to yourself, because remember, your brain is listening to what you're saying to yourself. Okay. Love you.